Hey everyone, it's Rob Stanley with the FreeeUp podcast. And today my special guest is Nathan Hirsch, former founder, and I'm only saying former because he sold it, a FreeUp, and now co-founder of Outsource School. Hey Nathan, thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, so let's dive right in. So what happened with FreeUp? You ended up selling it. Kind of step me through, what was that process? Like, were you looking to sell it or kind of what happened?
Yeah, I mean, FreeUp was a pretty fun adventure. I mean, before that, I was an Amazon seller and I never really had to grow my brand or do any kind of marketing. I mean, when I started selling on Amazon PPC didn't even really exist and no one was teaching people how to do it. So when I started FreeUp, I got it out there at the minimum viable product, a $5,000 software, and really good VAs, really good freelancers, a good process for hiring that we had built from our Amazon business. And people love the service. They love the freelancers. We were really humbled by that. And we grew from that $5,000 investment to $1 million, $5 million in year 2, $9 million in year 3, $12 million in 2019 last year. And along the way, I think Connor, my business partner, and I are pretty logical people. There's only so many ways you go forward with the business, right? You either run into the ground, you run it forever, you get an investor, which we personally just didn't want to do. We didn't want to have to report to other people, or you sell it. So we weren't actively trying to sell it. We always said that we weren't going to go out of our way to pitch people or spend time trying to find a buyer. If someone came to us, we would listen just like we listen to every other business proposal that we get and talk about it. And one of our clients actually reached out to us, the Hoth, who is actually located about an hour and a half from me in Tampa. They'd been a client of FreeUp for over a year. They really liked the platform. They said they wanted to get into the freelancer, the virtual assistant space. They didn't want to start a platform from scratch. And they asked if we'd be open to hearing them out. And they ended up getting some information, presenting us with an offer that we felt like was more than fair, if not aggressive. And from there, the due diligence began. And they had a million questions for us. We shared all our different SOPs and really how the business worked on the inside. We had a ton of questions for them. We wanted to know every past business that they had acquired, the good, the bad, the ugly, how they treat people. We had the opportunity to go to their office and meet their team and figure out what their culture was all about. And after the due diligence, the mind-numbing part began. That was the lawyers on both sides, which wasn't really their fault or our fault. It's just kind of part of the process, each side trying to protect themselves. And from there, we kind of had a tough decision to make. And we really only wanted to do it if it was going to be a win for everyone and a win for us, for them, for the freelancer on the platform, the clients, the partners, and our internal team, which we cared a lot about. So after doing the due diligence, they had grown. They bought a company for $100,000, grew it to over $25 million. They had a lot of success in there. They had a lot more experience growing 8-figure companies than we did. And we felt like their culture was amazing. They knew how to treat people well, and they were the right people to take FreeUp to the next level. So after that, we decided to take $500,000 from the sale and give it to our internal team in the Philippines to make sure that they were taken care of. That was by far the hardest part of the decision, is not being able to work with them anymore. And we have a great relationship with them, and we're still in touch with them, and also making sure their jobs were secure. We weren't going to sign anything unless we knew that their jobs and the bonus plans and raises plans that we had built up were going to stay in place. So that we ended up making the decision. We think it's going to be a win-win-win. I think after the sale, you're like crossing your fingers that wasn't like a mirage that just disappears once you sign on the dotted line. But they've been great since, and we've been in contact with them. And my new company, Outsource School, is actually partnering with them. And I'm now a client of FreeUp, which is a little bit weird. So I think it's all going to work out in the end.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, everybody's got like a different thing they went through. Like my story is similar somewhat when I sold my company, my e-commerce company. I mean, I was really concerned, like, because it's your baby, right? It's kind of like you grew this and you started it. It's not like you bought it and tried and grew it more. It was kind of like, hey, this started as an idea and it grew into this business. And I was the same way. I went out, I checked out, who are these employees? What are they doing? You know, how are they what's their next steps? How can I help them? I totally understand that. And we're not necessarily going to talk about this. We got Nathan on to actually talk about his new project / company going right now with Outsource School, which I think is actually a great complement to FreeUp. I mean, absolutely. When you were telling me about it, gosh, I don't know, it was like 3-4 weeks ago or maybe a little more. You were kind of giving me a little insight on it, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And that's a great compliment to FreeUp. Absolutely. So start off with how did you come up with the idea? You said you grabbed some money and you guys decided to do this, but like, were you already brainstorming this a little bit in the back of your head? Like, hey, this would be something really cool and it complements FreeUp?
It's funny you ask that. That's the number one question that I've been asked is like, were you planning this all along for like the 4 years of FreeUp? And the true answer is no. Like at no point during FreeUp did we have any other business ideas that we were seriously pursuing. And I know that a lot of entrepreneurs they're like constantly coming up with new ideas and new businesses. I feel like for whatever reason, Connor and I don't operate like that. Like we come up with, when we don't have anything to do, we come up with different ideas and we try them out. And then the idea we like, we put 24/7 effort into growing whatever that idea is. So for the past 4 years, it's been FreeUp nonstop. Yeah. All of our creative juices have gone towards FreeUp. And we have had many people, including Nate McAllister, who's now working with us on Outsource School, reach out to us and say, hey, you need to come up with more education. You need to come out with courses. You need to really form that complementary piece and teach people how to do it, because people can go to FreeUp and hire great pre-vetted VAs and freelancers, but if they don't know what to do with them after the fact, that only does so much good. So yes, people had asked us to do it. We never seriously considered it. I think once we sold FreeUp, there was a 90-day transition or a 60-day transition. And once that was over, then we started to sit down and say, hey, what do we want to do with our free time? Because I don't think Connor and I are ones to just go sit at the beach or retire. That's not really us, although our lifestyle has drastically changed and it's a lot more calm and relaxing than it was before. So we experimented with some real estate ideas. We experimented with some other ideas, and Outsource School really stood out there. We loved that we got to stay in the space, that we got to work with a lot of the same clients. And it was almost like now or never, right? We didn't want to just leave the space for 5 years and then come back to it. If we were going to do Outsource School, we had to do it relatively after we sold FreeUp. So that was kind of our thought process behind it. And we ended up joining forces with Nate McAllister, who knows a lot in the affiliate and the course space, because we have no experience with that. And we started kind of chipping away at what our first courses would be. And then Russell, who was our developer at FreeUp, and he was also part of the buyout. He started working on his own software that we got to kind of combine into Outsource School that we can talk about later. So it all kind of came together gradually through a lot of conversations.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's give everybody just kind of a high level overview before we dive deeper into it of what exactly is Outsource School.
Yeah, so Outsource School is a combination of education and software. We have our first software coming out in the next 60 days, an SOP builder, standard operating procedure builder, that we think is going to make it really easy for you to come up with the processes to train your virtual assistant without spending lots of time using Loom and using other stuff like that. Yeah. And then we've got the education component, where we started off with our first course, Cracking the VA Code, which dives into our interview, onboarding, training, and managing processes and teaches you step-by-step exactly how we do it. And then we're also coming out with more direct courses, like how to get on more podcasts, how to do lead generation, how to hire a bookkeeper. We plan on eventually adding workshops where we bring in expert guests that use VAs in a way that Connor and I don't, so they can teach people in our community how to do it. And then we're also coming out with these mini playbooks on things that we've learned how to do with VAs. For example, our first playbook is called the Partnership Playbook, which teaches you how to form and organize content partnerships with other people in the space to help grow your brand and get in front of other communities. So a combination of education and software, and we're really building out both sides of it right now.
Yeah, that's a great description of Outsource School, and I really appreciate that. So we're going to actually dive right into checking out the website, VA Calculator, and the course that he offers. But before we do that, hey, make sure to hit the like button, please, and subscribe to our channel before we jump into this. So here we go.
Cool. So this is the Outsource School website. At the top, that free VA calculator that we were talking about, just click here to get that. You can see here, we kind of break it down between the courses, the workshops, the playbooks, and the software. The software, the SOP builder, will be coming soon, and we want to build a lot more softwares to go with virtual assistants going forward, building out a VA toolbox, so to speak. For the expert workshops, if you're someone that is an expert on doing something with virtual assistants, remember it has to include virtual assistants for Outsource School, you can apply right here to do an expert workshop with us. It's a revenue share partnership. If it can add a lot of value to our community, there'll be mini courses in there. If you go into courses, you can see our 3 courses that are out now. Cracking the VA Code 1.0, our signature course, which shows you how to interview, onboard, train, and manage virtual assistants. That's here for $9.97. The podcast outreach formula, which teaches you how to wake up every day to a list of podcasts in your industry and their contact information from your virtual assistant, is right here for $147. And then our next course that we're working on right now is the lead generation formula. So whether you're a marketing agency, whether you offer Amazon services, whatever it is, this is going to show you how to use a VA to get more leads for your business. It's the same process that Connor and I did to get manufacturers for our Amazon business, to get leads for FreeUp at the beginning, that we're using for Outsource School right now. So those are the first three, and the two that are going to come after that are a bookkeeping one, how to use a VA bookkeeper. We don't have a name for it yet. Another one on another course you actually give to your virtual assistant to make them a better virtual assistant. So that'll be a cool one. And we actually have one of our favorite VAs teaching part of that course. So that course you don't even have to take. You just give that to your VA and it's going to make them a lot better. So those are our courses. And then we mentioned that playbook that's coming soon for the partnership playbook, which is going to teach you how we set up over 200, 300 content swaps with partners in the space and how we organize all of that with a virtual assistant. And I don't have an exact price point yet. It's going to be $97 or less, a much cheaper playbook. So that's really the website. And then we can jump into our free tool, the VA calculator.
Yeah, let's do that. Explain to them again what the VA calculator is for, what you're using it for.
Yeah, so the VA calculator allows you to quickly figure out what your business can actually afford and how many VAs you should actually hire right now. Because over the course of FreeUp, I've seen tons of clients who will hire a VA for 30 hours a week and they'll invest time, energy, money into training them, only to realize a few weeks later they can't really afford a VA for that many hours. So here's how to budget it very, very easily. So first of all, I put in here what the rate's going to be. Remember, a virtual assistant's going to be in that $5 to $10 an hour range. I like to go up $1 or $2 just to factor in bonuses, just to factor in, hey, maybe I hire them 20 hours a week, but 1 week I need them to work an extra 5 hours. So just to factor in stuff like that. So I like to set this at 7, but you can actually change this to whatever you want. From there, it breaks it down for you. So if you want to see how much a $7 VA will cost you per week, per month, per year, if you hire them for 10 hours a week, for 20 hours a week, for 30 hours a week, for 40 hours a week. I had this at 50 before because I usually hire people for 40 to 60 hours a week when I hire them, depending on what that week is. And then whatever profit your business makes each month, that's what you put in here. So, and I would average it over 3 months just in case anything crazy happens. And we all have busy seasons, especially in e-commerce, which I'm assuming most people watching this are in the e-commerce space. So if I net profit after paying all other employees $40,000 a year, I would put that there. I'm sorry, $40,000 a month. I put that there. And then that would tell me, hey, okay, I make slightly less than $500,000 a year in net profit. And then here I can put in how aggressive or how conservative I want to be. And I mentioned before, if you want to be more aggressive, maybe you're in that 40 to 60% range. You're going all out. You're trying to build that empire. You're hiring a lot of people. You're okay making less net profit. If you're more conservative, maybe you're in that 10 to 20 range. I tend to be around 20 to 30%. That's why I have this at 25%. So I'm going to keep this at 25 right now. And then this is going to tell you how much you can spend on hiring right here. So per week, if you're spending 25%, you can spend over $2,000 a week. And that actually comes out to about 8 full-time virtual assistants that you can hire. And obviously you can't hire a part of a VA to be part-time. So you'd be able to hire 8 full-time VAs and a part-time VA to go with it. So it really breaks it down how many VAs you can afford right now before you dive into it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I think you'd mentioned also that you had some free mini courses or a playbook or something. What was it you mentioned earlier?
No, we have a free case study on the website.
Oh, case study.
So yeah, if you go to outsourceschool.com and you go to resources, there we go. So right here, you can get a case study on how we scaled our team at FreeUp, and it's going to break it down year by year, what hires we made, what that structure looks like. It has an organizational structure there, so you can see team leaders and assistant team leaders, and that's a case study you can get for free right on the website.
All right, so why don't you show us a little bit about this cracking the VA code?
Yeah, so this kind of breaks it down step by step on our interviewing, onboarding, training, and managing process. And up here at the beginning, we actually walk you through the VA budget calculator because we don't want you to skip that step when you're doing it. So you've got it there. You've got us going through it. Then we go through our interview process, and we have the basics here for people. If you've never hired a VA before, stuff like what is a VA, how can you use a VA, like what tasks, what are traits of a really good VA, and we even have a cheat sheet of traits to look for and traits to avoid that you can check out. That you can check out right there. We talk about why that we hire most VAs from the Philippines. So we go into that and what you need to know about hiring from people in the Philippines. These are all things that I wish I knew back in the day. From there, we walk you through how to make a list of all your tasks and how to pick out what tasks to hire for first and how to create a really good job posting. We have a template to help you create a job posting for FreeUp for any marketplace that you want to use. And then once you've created that job posting, we're going to show you how we interviewed. This is the same interview process we've been doing for years. I just did it myself last week for my own virtual assistant for Outsource School. So you're going to get a cheat sheet with all of our questions. You're going to see us interview multiple virtual assistants there and be able to help ask for questions if you interview a VA and you have any questions going forward. Then we go into what we call our SICK method, which is schedule, issues, communication, and culture. And that's an onboarding. You're going to get to see us onboard multiple virtual assistants. We're going to dive deep into what you need to know about schedule, what you need to know about issues, what you need to know about communication, and what you need to know about culture. You can see in issues we cover internet, power, disappearing VAs, and everything that goes in there. So we got communication, we got culture. And then you can actually get our cheat sheet that walks you through how to onboard a VA and us actually doing it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Hey, sign me up. Sign me up. That's great information because I get a lot of people all the time asking me like they just don't know they know they can go sign up for like FreeUp and put their information in there, but they're kind of lost after that, right? Like they kind of need a little guidance on like we were just talking about, can I afford a VA? How many can I afford? Who should I be hiring first? I mean, I'm sure you've heard that also, throughout the time. I'm sure you got a lot of questions very similar all the time, right?
Definitely. And I mean, that's why we spend the time to kind of lay out our exact process, because I've gone on podcasts, we've written blog articles, but we've never actually sat down and say, hey, this is how we do it step by step.
That's great. Yeah. So, I mean, FeedbackWhiz and FreeUp, we've been teamed up for quite a long time. Now we're teaming up with Outsource School. Take a look at outsourceschool.com. And Nathan, I appreciate you being on with me.
Yeah, no problem. And we could keep going. It goes into training. It goes into management. It goes into team leaders and assistant team leaders and how to fire a VA and protect your business. So all 4 parts, the interview, the onboarding, the training, and the managing are all in cracking the VA code. And thanks for having me. Yeah.
Be sure to check out outsourceschool.com. And of course, we'll actually have a link down in the description people can click on and go right to it and take a look.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and for more information, please visit FeedbackWhiz.com.